Hey everybody, it's Jason, and in today's video, we're going to be covering the product line from Dovo, focusing first on these straight razors. And I'm so pleased to have a very special guest, Jens Zeidvogel from the Dovo company. He's come to us from all the way from Solingen, Germany, and he's really going to be able to give us a great set of product education so that you can sell these excellent products to your customers. Okay, so the first attribute is the steel. So maybe, Jens, you can kind of explain the difference between the two different types of steels that are used in the blade.
So the main steel which is used in the straight razors is carbon steel. And so this is given because the hardness and the material feature to have a good standing cutting edge is the best.
So this is the original steel that was used back in 1906.
Yeah.
A carbon steel is just a straight up steel with nothing to prevent oxidation. So it has that hardness, it holds an edge, and it's amazing that way. Of course, the drawback is that you have to care for these very, very carefully because even a little bit of extended water exposure will cause them to rust. So carbon steel's great, but you need to make sure that you let your customers know that they need to take care of their carbon steel razors, and that even means making sure that they're totally dry after they're finished, and if they're not going to be using them for an extended period of time, applying like a paraffin oil or something to prevent oxidation and rust over time, right?
Right.
Okay, so then the other type of steel is?
The other type of steel is stainless steel. But the request for stainless steel is less. It stains less, that's true, but most aficionados go back to carbon steel.
Okay, so hardcore aficionados actually, if you're using a straight razor, often you get it and you get this concept. And so you often will see that carbon steel will be more popular than a stainless steel, right? Okay, one other quick note. When you're looking at stainless steel razors, you'll often see the word inox. And inox is sort of the French word for inoxable or inoxidable. Basically, it just means inoxidatable, which is essentially a way of saying stainless steel or sort of reduction of rusting. Okay,
right.
Perfect. So the first question really is the type of blade, and in all of the blades that we have available from Dovo, we clearly indicate whether or not it is a carbon steel blade or a stainless steel blade. That's one of the questions if you have somebody looking at your straight razors, you might want to ask, and certainly inform them that carbon steel does require that extra care. So Jens, the next thing to talk about, the second property, is really, I guess, the size of the blade. So I know we carry two different sizes, 5/8 and 6/8. What's the difference and why are there two different sizes?
So the different sizes are mostly there to fit a bigger razor into a bigger hand and a smaller razor, 5/8, into a smaller hand. So it means to make convenient to hold the razor.
Got it. So it's just kind of a historical sort of size thing for comfort.
Yes, right.
Is there any difference in sort of the sharpness or the performance of 5/8 versus 6/8?
No. So the sharpness is exactly the same. It is just for the handling in the user's hand.
Got
That's
it.
all about it.
Got it. And one note for you, when you are looking at our catalog online, you'll notice that most of these straight razors sort of have a 6-digit number. So they might be called like the DV101581. Those last 3 digits actually give you a hint as to the size of the blade. So 581 is 5/8 of an inch, 681, 6/8 of an inch. So a little cheat sheet there on how to be able to see just from the item numbers of Dovo straight razors if it's 5/8 or 6/8 of an inch.
Exactly.
Okay. So Jens, the next thing to talk about is the difference between full hollow and half hollow. So maybe I'll sort of take my shot at explaining this. As you've told me many times, when the straight razor sort of comes as a blank, it has a shape which is like a V pattern, right? So like a kitchen knife or a hunting knife has kind of this V pattern, right? But with the straight razor, it's very special because you want to sharpen it or hollow it out so it has a very fine tip. And the hollowing step is typically done on these grinding wheels. And the concept is the grinding wheels spin, you run the V shape through it, and that hollows out the edge so that you end up with a very fine, very sharp cutting edge.
Right.
Is that correct?
Right.
Okay, great. And so the difference between a half hollow is you're just doing one grinding step, right? And the full hollow, what do you do?
We do a second grinding step. Half hollow is on the level of the spine,
Okay.
2 millings right and left.
Yep.
And the full hollow also has a level, edge level grinding.
Got
so
it.
to pull out the cutting edge much more.
Okay, so basically you end up with a longer finer edge with a full hollow than you do with a half hollow.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the full hollow edge is more flexible for a better shave.
Got it. So they both will give you a great shave. Full hollow is a little bit, if you will, better than a half hollow. Also typically a little bit more expensive because there's an additional production step, obviously, you know what I mean, in manufacturing.
Exactly.
Okay. So we've covered all of the details in terms of your blade. Let's understand the next parameter, which is really handle and decoration. Maybe Jens, give us an overview of the types of handles that are available for your Dovo straight razors.
Mm-hmm. So handles, we normally have plastic handles or acrylic handles. We go over to wooden handles like olive wood, or even the ebony wood handle is very famous, and up to natural material like horn, so cow horn. So these are the options we have for our straight razors.
Great. So lots of different options on handles. I know sometimes the acrylic is also known as a cylinder handle. That's like a word for kind of an old type of plastic, a very old type of kind of the original sort of more organic based plastic as well. So sometimes you'll see these referred to as cylinder handles or plastic handles as well.
Right.
Okay, great. Any difference, you know, other than obviously the grip from a shaving experience from the handle?
Sometimes you have material which weighs a little bit heavier in the hand for those guys who really like heavy handle. So it gives you a different balance. But generally, so the cutting ability, it doesn't have any influence on the cutting of the edge.
Great. So it's really it's really the blade that obviously is giving you the cutting edge, and the rest of it is around decoration, weight in the hand, etc.
Yes.
Great. Talk to us about decoration. So when you mean decoration, what is that? Is that decoration on the blade, and where do we sort of see that?
Decoration is mainly what we understand on the blade. So it can be very simple decoration just in etching, laser etching, or it can be added also the gold plating, which means here we find the gold plating on the spine.
So sort of like this etching on the spine and then gold on that as well. Okay, perfect. So the last parameter is that obviously once you have selected a blade, your customer has selected a blade, that is if they've picked carbon or stainless steel, carbon being more popular, 5/8 inch or 6/8 inch, so you have your size, and whether or not they want a full hollow or half hollow, that reduces the number of razors down to a smaller number, and then you're really picking it based on the handle material and the decoration. And that really is how you end up selecting your Dovo straight razor.
Exactly.
Great then. To order these products or for more information, visit us at barbersupplies.com or in Canada, ca.barbersupplies.com.